Hey guys, today I'm going to be talking to you about all the books that I read in January. So, this has been by far my best month of reading ever. I don't think I've ever read so much in one month, and I can attribute that to obviously a little bit more time dedicated to reading, but also I've picked up a tip or two online and I've been practicing on how to read faster, and that really has improved how much I can read within such a short span of time. And I'm loving it so far because, as you all know, the reader's biggest dilemma is having a huge TBR and not being able to get through even a fraction of it. I read a total of 5 books. Well, I finished one that I started mid December, and I started another that I'm about halfway through right now. So 3 books and 2 halves, about 4 books. But that doesn't really matter. Let's just say 5, right? So the books that I read were The Martian by Andy Weir, Jade City by Fonda Lee, The Institute by Stephen King, The Lathe of Heaven by Ursula Le Guin, and 112263, which I don't have the copy of right now because I lent it to my girlfriend. All right, so the first book that I read this month was 112263. This is about a high school professor who is given this mission to go back in time and save JFK from his assassination. And most of the story really follows his journey in the 50s and 60s and him building a life there and the years leading up to the assassination and really what his life was like. I absolutely love this book. I have a review for it out on my channel. I'll link it below. And I just love what Stephen King did in this story with developing the main character and really seeing him change all throughout the story. And I loved how Stephen King brought the 50s and 60s to life. He brought that environment to life, and I felt like I was in the story. I felt like I was in that era, which was just an amazing experience. And Stephen King is an amazing writer. And what absolutely put this book over all his other books was his ending. Stephen King doesn't typically have that strong of ending, at least in the stories that I've read, but this book wrapped everything together so well that I was just stunned by the end of the story. And I put the book down and I was just like, wow. I texted my girlfriend immediately and I told her, I was like, oh my God, you have to pick this up right now because this is just jaw dropping. It was amazing. Perfect ending. I wouldn't change anything about it. And I would definitely recommend to anybody to pick this up. It is a bit on the chunkier side. It's about 800 pages, but I'd say it's really worth the read and you'll leave this story feeling really satisfied. The next book that I read was The Martian by Andy Weir, and this was my introduction to sci-fi, and again, I have a review for that in my channel. I'll link it down below. This was overall very enjoyable, but one thing that I didn't really like about this book was really the attention to detail when describing a lot of the technical aspects of the story. I know that sci-fi focuses a lot on the exploration of ideas and the exploration of science, but I just found these parts to be a bit boring and a slog to get through, where I really found myself skimming a lot of those parts throughout the story and really waiting to get more plot development rather than talking about hydrogen and these chemicals combining and how to fix this or that and engineering things. That just didn't really interest me and I found those parts boring. So that really took away from the enjoyment of the novel for me. But I absolutely loved the main character. I loved the personality that Andy Weir gave him. His personality absolutely shines through the story and really is the saving grace for me. Mark, the main character, is absolutely hilarious. He's so upbeat and positive all the time. Even in tough situations where he's struggling to get by, he has a positive attitude and a positive outlook on life that I can really connect to because that's the way that I am a lot of times. And so I just loved seeing that, and he really made me laugh so much throughout the novel. I don't think I've ever laughed so much with a book. There were parts where I put the book down and actually laughed out loud. And so this was a pretty good introduction for me to sci-fi. Overall, I really did enjoy the story, but because of those more technical things, I would have to say that it was more on the average side for me. But I would recommend that you pick it up, especially if you're already into sci-fi. I've heard that a lot of sci-fi lovers absolutely adore this book, so I would definitely recommend to pick this up. After that, I read The Institute by Stephen King. This follows a young kid who has above average intelligence. He's really like a child prodigy. He's a genius. And he also has these telekinetic powers. And in the story, he gets abducted and taken to this facility called the Institute, where there are other kids like him with special abilities, and really it's about their time there and their journey throughout that struggle, being experimented on, being treated very cruelly. And I gotta say that the first chunk of this novel didn't really grip me. The first about 100 to 150 pages was a bit of a slog. I wasn't really connected to the story. I wasn't really connected to the characters. But after that, it did really ramp up, and I did start connecting a lot more with the main character. And the plot started picking up a lot, where I was on the edge of my seat and really looking forward to seeing what comes next. But that first part was a bit of a struggle to get through. And so for that reason, this was just an average read for me. Overall, I did enjoy the story. I'm glad that I read it. It was by no means bad, but while I do feel that it could have been done a bit better, I overall did enjoy this story. And I'll have a review for this book coming out in the coming weeks, so stay tuned for that as well. The next book that I read was actually one that I just finished yesterday, and it's Jade City by Lathe. This is about two warring clans in this mysterious region called Kekon. And in this region, there's a lot of this gem called Jade, and Jade basically gives its user enhanced abilities. It makes you quicker, faster, smarter, more aware, and for that reason it's really valuable. Now, in the region of Kekon, there are two ruling clans, and these clans are often in conflict with each other, and they basically go to war with each other. And this story follows a lot of this conflict and a lot of the politics surrounding the two clans and the outside world as well. I really love this book for how Lathe brought to life the culture and the environment and the atmosphere of the region of Kekon. The politics was done just amazingly. We got to see a lot of these people's traditions and customs and their social norms, and really that's what brought the story to life for me, and that's what made me immersed in this world. The plot too is just exhilarating. It keeps you on the edge of your seat the entire time. There's so many twists and turns that I just never saw coming, and that had me like jaw-dropped shocked. And I would absolutely recommend this book for anybody to read. And I really can't wait to read the second book in this trilogy. And my review for this book is going to be out next Friday, so stay tuned for that as well. Now, the last book is The Lathe of Heaven by Ursula Le Guin. And I'm only about a third the way into it. And so far, it follows a man whose dreams affect reality. This concept just seems super cool to me, and I'm really invested in the story and the main character. I don't have much to say about it right now because I am only about a third the way through, but so far it's looking bright, it's looking great, and I can't wait to finish this soon. And that's everything that I read in January. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know if you've read any of these books. Let me know if you're excited to pick any of these up. Let me know what you guys think about my video, and please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And thanks for watching. Have a nice day, guys.